Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Picture International with me, Darius. Today's the 24th of August 2023. So, yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, just a quick, oh, no, not this. Just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us, guys. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us and we'll be happy to assist. So now then, let's jump into the charts. Let me just quickly double check if everything seems to be working here on my side. Yeah, I think yes, that's all good, all okay. So I was just worried that the sound might not be coming through very well, but all seems to be okay. Now, look, Nikkei 225, right? What do we have here? We have a continuation move higher, and after we reversed here from this 31,243 territory, yes, we are pushing now higher. We're pushing towards that 50-day EMA, and then my next question is, what's going to happen further, and will we, end up actually going and testing this downside line? Well, so far, in a way, everything is very positive. Everything is like, in a happy world right now. It seems like that, but look, let's not rush into anything. What I said to you before, that if we do push and stay above the 50-day EMA, I'll go higher. And yes, for now, I will kind of stick to that idea. I get it. I might get something like I had here back in the beginning of August, but look, maybe this time it could, just climb above it and stay above it, and then go towards a larger correction here towards to the upside. So let's keep an eye on that one. China 50, beautiful reversal, and of course, what I talked about before, I said to you that if we do stay below that 12,475 territory, then yes, my next target is around here somewhere. Well, we came closer to that, to testing my area, but yeah, we kind of found support here. I think that maybe, just maybe, we can draw something like this here, and you can see that it is a perfect match. Beautiful rebound from this upside line. Okay, that's all good. That's all fine. What's next? Well, if you want to look at some lower levels, then probably the easier option is to wait for a break below this upside line, and maybe also a drop below the 12,200 zone, somewhere around here. This way, a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed, and more sellers could join in. For the upside, I need to see a break of this downside line, and yes, and maybe then a push above some of the 12,000, maybe 727 level. Again, depending on how this is going to trade, because maybe a break of this downside line will be enough. And of course, yes, sorry. Sorry for my voice. And yes, of course, the positivity right now is kicking in, mainly kind of from the US, I think, because NVIDIA, which of course has huge ties with China, and a lot of other companies are benefiting from what happened. That NVIDIA reported fantastic earnings. So yeah, look, I would say this way, that for now, for now, let's keep an eye on this. Like I said, on the China 15 index, let's keep an eye on this downside line. If it gets broken, then I'll get more comfortable with the upside. While we remain in here, I'm just observing the price action. Now, ASX 200 also seeing some positivity again because the U.S. markets, the U.S. market is pushing a little bit higher right now. The futures I'm talking about, I'll jump into that in a bit. And yes, we're seeing some nice recovery here, so everything's in line. But look, what I said to you before, that for me to examine the upside or the downside, yes, I need to see a break first here, a break below the this highlighted zone in order to consider a move lower. Then yes, I need to break below this highlighted zone, the 7,040 area, approximately around there, and then yeah, potentially more sellers could join in. For the upside, I need to see a break at least above this steeper downside resistance line drawn from the high of the 1st of August. Now let's jump into the Dow, into the US indices. So, excuse me, just bear with me one moment. I'll clear up my throat a little bit because I think this is going to continue throughout the whole video. Sorry for disappearing there, but yeah, had to clear up my throat. Otherwise, I would be, you know, with that rough voice throughout the whole of the video, you know, the webinar. But anyway, coming back to the Dow. So, yes, we are seeing some positivity. And in general, yesterday, the stock market did close in positive zone. And of course, Dow was the if Nasdaq was the biggest gainer, Dow was the biggest loser, but still ended up in positive territory. Now, looking at the cash index, you can see that. Oh, sorry, the cash index, the futures here. You can see that we're getting that nice pop here, and yes, we're going for that larger correction after reversing from this highlighted zone that I talked about previously. This 7,000 and oh, sorry, the Dow. I'm then talking about still ASX 200. That's why I thought the numbers are not matching. But Dow Jones Industrial Average, yes, again, the same story. Like we had a reversal here to the upside. Now, the Dow is, as you can see, actually not really moving to the upside further. Okay, that's very interesting. Why? Most likely that's because of the Jackson Hole Symposium. Everybody's kind of on standby. Everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen further. You know, look, the market needs some food, right? And these little bits of news, these little event, or I mean maybe not little, but these events are kind of food for the market, right? I mean, and everybody's kind of waiting, you know, kind of with their open mouths and like, oh, what they're gonna say, what they're gonna say, how they're gonna sound. Like, is Powell gonna sound dovish or hawkish, or what is he gonna, you know, hint towards more rate hikes? And I think, in my opinion, right now, that yes, Nvidia's positive report is helping Nasdaq. Nasdaq is dragging the rest of them, like the S&P and the Dow, a little bit more higher. And in general, I think that the market participants are kind of right now are a little bit more positive. They're thinking like, okay, you know what? Even if he hints for more rate hikes, at least we can squeeze something here a little bit more to the upside, and then we'll, you know, hit the sell button. So, you know, but again, let's see. Maybe he's not going to sound very interest rate hikey, but maybe actually he'll be more mellow, and then, you know, everything will kind of go into its shelves, and basically we'll see some, you know, a larger correction here to the upside on the Dow. Now, for now, what I said before, I'll stick to that game plan. I said to you that if we do drop and stay below this 100-day EMA, I'll go lower. We did drop, we failed, we did stay for a little bit, but then yesterday we reversed sharply to the upside. But I think that this is more of a move which let's say it's a reaction to the news. I mean, and yes, it'll maybe not very technical analysis Yeah, it reversed sharply to the upside. Now the question is, if it continues to trade above that 100-day EMA, will we see a larger correction here to the upside? You know what? What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a simplistic approach here from the very short-term perspective, and I'm going to do exactly that. If we stay above the 100-day EMA, I will aim for that 50-day EMA, and then we'll take it from there. Oh, as always, good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's who's tuning in having a wonderful, wonderful start of Thursday. Just to remind you as well that tomorrow there won't be any Daily Pitch International with me, so I'll resume. We'll resume on Monday. So just to let you know. Now, the S&P 500, beautiful move. Look at this. I mean, sharp reversal. And this one's looking a little bit more on the bullish side. So, look, we broke the downside line. We climbed above the 50-day EMA. To be honest, what's not to like for the bulls here, right? So, at the moment, to be honest, I'm going to stick to my game plan. I said to you before that if we do break this downside line and we do move above that 50-day EMA, I'm going to go higher. My next target is the 4,517 level. Period. That's what I'm going to aim for, and yeah, that's kind of it. In terms of the downside, a drop below the 100-day EMA right here might do the trick again for a few more sellers. And then, yes, we could maybe start examining the downside. But at this point right now, yes, we had a nice reversal from this 100-day EMA. We're climbing back above the 50-day EMA. So, of course, everything is kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside. But still, don't get me wrong, there are barriers to overcome. And let's put it this way. If we do draw a Fibonacci here, you can see that we already did the 50% retracement. And that 38.2 was exactly on a break of this area of this downside line, well, and near that 50-day EMA. So beautiful move here. But I'll remove the Fibonacci's. At this point, I don't want to stick to them for now. I just want to aim for some of these levels based on some of these barriers, some of these hurdles, and the EMAs. Yeah, the NASDAQ. And so also, before I go further, of course, we do have a few data sets coming out today. Mainly, of course, as always, initial and continuous jobless claims. Those are coming out, so something to keep an eye on. Core durable goods and core durable goods are coming out, so just keep in mind. Yesterday we had, by the way, some data from the US, the preliminary manufacturing, composite, and services PMIs, which came out as a disappointment. But as you can see, nobody cares when there is NVIDIA. That's where we're seeing that nice pop, and that we're seeing that, nice explosion here on NASDAQ. It did move, did push back above the 50-day EMA. I talked about this. So, yeah. Life is good for NASDAQ, and it's pushing towards this territory, this 15,433, 475 levels. I talked about this previously, but to be honest, I'm actually aiming more for this downside line drawn from the high of the 19th of July. If that gets tested, then my next question, will it get broken? Well, we'll have to just kind of take it, step by step, slowly. The German index, of course, yes, pushing nicely to the upside. We have a few runaway gaps here. Okay, that's interesting. Now the question is, can we go back above this 15,878 territory? Look, I talked about this level before. This was my lower side of the of this range that I talked about. So now my question is, can we climb back above it? And look how well it coincides with the 100-day EMA. Like, coincidentally. So yes, if we do pop back and stay above this territory, maybe actually I'll consider a larger move to the upside. But then again, yes, I'll consider a larger move to the upside, but initially only towards the 50-day EMA, because lately it has been acting somewhat of a good area of resistance. So I don't want to rush into this. So that's why I'm just going to keep an eye on this hurdle, this 15,878, and if that gets cleared, then yes, I will go a little bit higher. For now, that's my game plan. In terms of the downside, I need some sort of clarity here. Let's say if it gets a hold up below this 15,878 zone. If it continues to trade below it, then yes, maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible. However, my ideal scenario is still a move kind of somewhere below this whole zone. That's the kind of the dream for the sellers. Could be. Because maybe at the same time we could see, the 200-day EMA approaching this territory, and a nice good break below this territory. Wow, I mean that could open the door to some, open the can of worms, and could start, opening the door for more sellers to go in. But anyway, let's not rush. For now, let's keep an eye on this territory right here, this 15,878. If we do climb above it, then we will also climb above the 100-day EMA. And then my next target is the 50-day EMA. Although my arrow is drawn all the way here, up until here, still I'm going to aim for this territory right there. The FTSE 100. So the FTSE 100 is at an interesting spot here. Look, I talked about this already, and I'm going to stick to my game plan. I get it. It did retrace nicely here, but look, it's always a gamble. It's a very, big gamble. I mean, trading is sometimes a gamble. Well, actually, most of the time. But, and look, I said to you that I will get more comfortable with the downside if we do break this upside line, and we were still close to it. So it was a little bit, let's say, difficult to say that, yeah, from here we can go higher. Yes, there is an element of that, maybe a bit of a rebound, but we have seen this happening in the opposite direction where, it kind of tests the, let's say, the upside line, but bounces around here a little bit and then falls off the cliff. So, it's you have to kind of watch the market and what's happening in the market then. Now we're seeing, yes, a push back to the upside, 7,390 zone that I talked about. I said to you that I need to see a clearance of that one, and then I'll go a little bit higher towards my downside line, drawn from the high of the 31st of July. If that gets broken, great. I mean, higher levels could be met. Euro Stocks 50, just a quick update. We're getting a nice breakout here, so not much to talk here. Just basically the same game plan is valid. Yes, we're breaking the downside line. We're pushing with a 100-day EMA. So yeah, next question, can we go and reach that 50-day EMA? Well, as long as we stay above this downside line and above the 100-day EMA, I am targeting that 50-day EMA, shown as the red line here, and then we'll take it from there. For the downside, well, I mean, ideally, I'd like to see a drop below this territory. But look, if we somehow drift back below this downside line and stay below it, then hey, maybe, a bit of a, we could see a bit of a move lower here towards this highlighted zone. I'll pick up on that later next week. US dollar. So, roller coaster ride. So initially we were climbing higher. We were pushing nicely to the upside. Then, yes, then we kind of got some data. Where's that news? Where's that piece of information? Yeah, we got some data from the US, as I already talked about, the preliminary manufacturing composite and services PMIs. And there we go. Look at this. Look at this beauty here. Look at that 103.50 territory. We had a fantastic clearance of it, and then we just drifted back below that one. So yes, now, I mean, look, I'm not saying that I'm becoming suddenly bearish or something. No, my bearishness will come on a break of this upside line and a drop below this 102.95, 94 zone, somewhere around here, and also a drop below the 200-day EMA. Then, yes, I will start leaning a little bit to the downside. But for the upside scenario is still not off the table because we're still trading above this upside line drawn from the low of the 18th of July. We could still see another push back up, but again, I'll stick to my game plan. A push above the 103.50 territory would be needed, and not only that, we would like to see the body of the daily candle staying, not just giving us like a false breakout like we in the past 2 days, but actually staying above that area. Gold. So there we go. Beautiful move. Look at this. I mean, this is just spectacular. I mean, and guess what? Weaker dollar, stronger gold, right? I mean, and there we go. Boom. But I just want to say something, guys. yesterday, I said to you that I'm keeping an eye on my 1900 level. I said to you that if we will push through it and stay above it, I'm aiming for that 200-day EMA. I mean, yes, I had this 1921 level right here somewhere. I don't know why, but like it doesn't make sense actually, to be honest. Why not this one? Why not that one? So just kind of random. And somehow it worked. Okay, I can say that this was a total fluke. The 1921 level, this one right here where we found resistance, I randomly chose this one. But my main target was the 200-day EMA, and that one is like, that makes sense. And okay, we reached that, and fantastic, good result here. So yes, my next question, what's next? Well, the next thing I think is going to be the as long as we stay above the 200-day EMA, I am going to continue targeting that 21-day EMA and then the 100-day EMA, and then we'll take it from there. That's it. That's my game plan. In terms of the downside, well, if it starts falling and stays below that 200-day EMA, maybe I'll consider a bit of a retracement here, a larger move here to the downside. But again, let's wait for that to happen first, and then we can do something about it. Now then, silver, yes, of course, similar story. We pushed above the EMAs. So far, so good. I cannot say anything else. I mean, apart from the fact that it's kind of working out nicely. So, look, at this point, I would say that I'm still targeting that downside line drawn from the high of the 4th of May. So, long story short, hey, that's going to be my game plan. I mean, we could see maybe a bit of a retracement at some point here, but in a way, this idea is working out nicely. I talked about this. So, in general, I think that this is forming a nice descending triangle pattern. Again, according to all the TA rules, technical analysis rules, these patterns tend to break to the downside. However, we have seen this happening in the opposite direction. So either way, you need to wait for a clearance of one of the sides. But at this point, where I'm aiming for the upper side of this triangle, and then we'll take it from there. Natural gas. There we go. Finally, we're getting some sort of interesting things here. So we're breaking this upside line. So I talked about this, and I said to you that if we do clear this upside line, I'm going to go lower. I have picked up on this one a while ago, and there we go. We're clearing that one. And we cleared already that one, and we stayed below it. So great. We also cleared this little territory, this lowest point of August. As you can see here, we are now we're now creating this lower level. So what's next? Well, I would say this way, that as long as we stay below that 2.4557 zone, somewhere around here, yes, I will go lower, and I'll target my lower side of the range. For the upside, I would like to see a push back above this upside line and back above the EMAs. If I get that, then I'll aim for the upper side of the of this range here, where we're currently stuck in, and we have been stuck in there from the beginning of this year, basically. So yeah, look, in general, it's quite interesting. I'm just kind of wondering what's going to happen further. How much more can we fall? And then, yes, the question will be, can we rebound here and push back to the upside? Well, let's wait and see. Oil. There we go. So somewhat of a head and shoulders pattern. Not a very ideal one, I would say. More like a mountain, honestly. But the neckline, yes, the neckline remained the neckline. So it broke, and we dropped and tested that 50-day EMA. I said to you before that if we do drop below that 79 zone and stay below it, I'll go lower. And so far, I'm doing that. And look, my next target will be this one right here. Well, the 50-day EMA got reached. My next target is the 200-day EMA and then the 100-day EMA. That's it. That's what I'm going to aim for. So on my chart here, the 50-day EMA is roughly around that 78.39 or 37. The 200-day EMA is around the 77.41, and the 100-day EMA is near the 77.76, approximately around here. So, yeah, that's my game plan for now. I'm a little bit more on the bearish side on WTI oil. So, as long as it stays below this territory right here, below that neckline. For the upside, Well, this is where I'm going to drop the arrow here, and yes, if we do break this downside line and we stay above it, then yes, I'll go for that 81.74 territory right there, marked by the high of the 21st of August. Just a quick mentioning of Bitcoin. Yesterday we had a nice reversal here to the upside, so that's fine. Of course, guess what? Guess why? Weaker dollar, right? So in general, at the moment I'm just cautious, right? I mean, it would be interesting to see a full reversal back up, but at the moment I'm just a little bit on the cautious side. With Bitcoin, I think the easier option right now maybe is to keep an eye on this 25,810 zone, because so far it's kind of providing good support. If that gets broken, then yes, I will go a little bit lower. For the upside, I need to see at least a push back above the 200-day EMA, and then yes, we could go a little bit higher towards this downside line drawn from the high of the 13th of July. Bitcoin Cash. Also, again, we're waiting. We're stuck here between the 100 and the 200-day EMAs. And to be honest, the reason why I'm saying I'm a little bit on the careful side, because the same story is on Bitcoin, that it seems like we're forming something like a bearish flag. But hey, it could be a bearish flag, but it could not be, but that's why we need to play the waiting game at the moment. For Bitcoin Cash, I need to see a drop below the 200-day EMA. The same game plan remains. Litecoin. So yeah, this one is also very interesting, and we're still kind of hovering above this upside line drawn from the low of the 14th of June. So yeah, if we need to see some lower levels, then probably yes, a drop below the 60.23 territory would be needed. Because again, at the same time, we'll get that break above the upside line, and then yes, a forthcoming lower low here will be confirmed if we do fall below that 60.23. AUDUSD. So AUDUSD, we broke the downside line. I talked about this yesterday. I said to you that if we do clear the steeper one, then this could open the door to some higher levels. Look at this. I mean, push higher. My next target is this. Actually, you know what? Now we can get rid of this steeper one. And now this can be the steeper one. It's going to be easier for me to, mark, to tell you which one is the flatter one and which one is the steeper one. So this one is now the steeper one, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. And that's drawn from the same high of the, 14th of July. So, so at the moment, that's my target. I'm not saying that this is a picture-perfect trend line, no, because it has its flaws around here. So, it's not really ideal. But I'm going to be aiming for the area near that. If that gets cleared, then yes, my next target is the this 50-day EMA right here, which could approach, this territory somewhere. And then, of course, we'll keep an eye on this other downside line. But let's go slowly. Let's not rush into things. For the downside, now this is where the tricky moment is. For me, the downside is somewhere from around here. Now, I get it. It's a little bit like way too far. Maybe we should start looking at some higher level or some lower levels on a break of this upside line. And to be honest, I think that maybe that could be a nice case here. So if we do continue to trade above this upside line, then yes, I will continue maybe targeting the upside slowly, but with its obstacles on the way higher, of course. But if we start breaking this upside line, this short-term tentative upside support line, then yeah, great. Maybe we could see, a nice move back towards that 0.6365 zone. AUDJPY. Let me have a look at this one. Okay. I mean, as you can see yourselves, a possible descending triangle pattern here, which is forming according to the TA rules. It tends to break to the downside, but again, a breakout is still required. So, long story short, if we do break this territory, this 93 zone, and we fall below the 200-day EMA, I'll get more comfortable with lower levels. For the upside, I need to see a break of this downside line, which is the upper side of this potential descending triangle pattern. Now, AUDNZD. AUDNZD, so one of my favorite ones, and I need to adjust this a little bit. So we're currently stuck in a range, and ideally, of course, in order for me to go higher or lower, a break through the upper or the lower side of the range, respectively, is needed. So in this case, my range is roughly between the upper bound here is near the 1.092530 zone, somewhere in there. So a nice good clearance of that may attract more buyers. For the downside is the area here near the 1.0729. So yes, but look, within the range, we also have life, and we do have this upside line so far, which is playing out nicely, and it's drawn from the low of the 3rd of August, and in a way, I would say that this is a nice ascending triangle pattern forming potentially. But of course, more confirmation is required. So in the meantime, yes, I'm going to aim a little bit to the upside, but I'll get more comfortable with higher levels within the range if we do pop above the 1.0879 level right here. For the downside, we can actually start looking at some lower levels if we do break this upside line. And then, yes, we could, aim initially for that 1.0790 or actually 1.08 zone. And if that gets cleared, yes, lower levels could be met. NZDJPY, something that I've picked up a while ago. Actually, I do like NZD pairs. So yeah, at this point, we are stuck here. We are stuck between these two trend lines. So in general, you know what? As boring as it sounds, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I will wait until I get my clearance here, and then I'll do something about it. Because then maybe there could be a little bit more action in all this. But at this point, I am just, yes, I'm observing the price action. And I am keeping an eye on this territory here. So a nice good break above this downside line or below this upside line could open the door, could establish the next short-term directional move. USDJPY. So this one's interesting. So yes, yesterday the dollar index dropped and the US dollar failed here. But now we're started, and what I said to you before as well, that I said to you that if we do drop and stay below the 145 zone, or even better, 144.85, then yes, lower levels could be met here. So we are staying, or we did stay initially, now we're pushing back up. But actually, you know what? I'm kind of loving that 145 zone. It's kind of like acting as nice psychological territory. So at the moment, we're just kind of oscillating around it. So for me, it's still valid. And if we do drift below it again, maybe actually we could see some, yen buying here. So just let's be a little bit on the careful side. And remember, I talked about BOJ's intervention. Last week I talked about it. So maybe there's a bit of that happening right now. So maybe a slow buying of the yen, because in general, look, the stock market is rallying, right? But we're seeing a nice reversal here on USDJPY. So in a way, yes, the dollar's on the weaker side. I get it, but still, in that case, people should be like, pushing this one. This pair should maybe pushing a little bit higher. But okay, look, for now, the dollar is dictating the rules, and you can see that yes, we're seeing some weakness. So if we do drop and stay below the 145 zone again, then yes, my next target is the 50-day EMA. USDCAD, looking at the picture here, I would say we're stuck. We're stuck, so we tried to push above that 1.3575 territory. Initially, we succeeded, but then we struggled, the same as, like I said, like the dollar index here. We also, created the nice false breakout. So now the question is, can we remain in this range here for a while, or actually will we start clearing one of the sides of this little range? So for now, we're closer to the lower side of this range. We're near that 1.35 zone. If that gets cleared, then yes, I will go lower. For the upside, I need to see a push over the 1.3575 territory right here again, and then yes, I'll go higher. GBPUSD. So, to be honest, beautiful moves here, and actually, this is where I was not sure which of these to leave. This is where I was talking about yesterday. I mean, I said I'm not really sure which is going to be the lower side of the range because kind of both of them are working out. It's just that here we're seeing these false breakouts, but actually, you know what? I think that it's time we can get rid of this one and we can just focus on this territory right here. Look at this. Look how well it's playing out. Look how well it is providing support so far. So if you're looking for some lower levels, a drop below this territory would be needed. For the upside, I need to see a push above the 1.2782, and then yes, we could go a little bit more to the upside here. Now then, oh, excuse me, just bear with me one moment. So, let me start my voice like a motorcycle, honestly. So that's my game plan. Like I said, I need to wait for a clearance of one of these sides because again, these sharp reversals are not really working out. So you're kind of thinking, oh great, I'm bearish and I'm gonna go lower, and it's kind of going lower. Great, now for sure it's gonna break the lower side after such a strong fall. For sure it's gonna break the lower side, right? That's what we normally think. No, nothing is short in the market, so everything is like a little bit of a gamble. So that's why, for me, I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 1.2620 zone here in order to go to the downside. GBPNZD. There we go. We fell below the 2.1355 territory. Yes, the question for me now is, if we stay below this zone, below that 2.1355 zone right here, then yep, I'm going to lean towards the downside. I'm going to stick to my game plan. I talked about this, and I'm going to lean towards the downside. I think that some of you might say, but you know what? Maybe it's not this one. Actually, maybe it could be this little territory. And you know what? You might be right. I have to admit, yeah, maybe this could be a better actually level to watch because we have more. So 2.14 zone. Look, as long as we stay below it, I will continue targeting the downside. So I will continue moving, aiming lower. And yes, I'm going to go for that larger correction to the downside towards this upside line drawn from the low of the 20th of July. If we do push back above this 2.14 territory, maybe there could be some room for some higher levels, but again, we'll adjust as we go there. So at the moment, yeah, as I said, I'll have to admit that maybe this level, this 2.1355, maybe it's not the most exciting. Maybe actually the 2.14 is a little bit more exciting level to keep an eye on. So we'll just give it a little bit more room. If we do see that it's struggling to get over that level again, then yes, I will aim for the larger correction to the downside. Euro CHF, just very quickly. So I've talked about this one. Oh my God, what's happening with my voice? Just bear with me one moment. Honestly, not my day today, so apologies for that, guys. Look, I talked about Euro CHF a while ago, and I said to you that we are in the range. We're kind of watching some of these levels. I mean, this 0.99, 0.9566 level kind of was working, but then it stopped working, and I think it's time to get rid of it. Maybe we can mark this this high here, the current highest point of this week near the 0.96 zone. Good potential target. Overall we're still stuck in the range here between the 0.9525 and the 0.9650 levels. Within that range, we're drifting lower right now while we're trading below this downside line. So at the same time, we're kind of forming this nice descending triangle pattern. Look, in general, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside. Yes, not because we are now just purely testing the lower side of the range. No, Okay, a little bit partially by that, but mainly because of the prevailing trend was to the downside here when we got into the range. So before we got into the range, the prevailing trend was to the downside. So in a way, when we get a range like this, then it kind of classes it as a continuation pattern. So and that's what we're seeing kind of right now. So we could see, you know, lower levels here. Let's see if that's going to happen. Also, like I said, this okay, it's not really like a descending triangle. Why? Because it's not really an ideal moment right here. So okay, you know what? We're just gonna stick to a downside line. So so we have a downside line within the range. So in a way, kind of potentially pointing to some lower levels. So but again, as I said before, I need to see another clearance of that 0.9525 territory in order to go lower. For the upside, a break of that downside line is required, and then yes, we could consider some moves to the upside within the range. EURGBP, there we go. Beautiful drift to the downside. We fell below the 158 zone. I talked about this, and I'm going to stick to my game plan. I'm going to continue aiming lower. My next target is the 50-day EMA. If that gets cleared, then yes, I'm going to aim for that 155.415 level right here. And then if that gets cleared, my next target is the 100-day EMA. So I'm going slowly in these increments just to be a little bit more on the safe side. If we do pop back above the 158 zone and stay above it, then maybe a bit of a retrace, a push back to the upside here going to be possible. However, I prefer to wait for a push above the 159.49 level right here in order to go higher, because a forthcoming higher high then will be confirmed. Euro Aussie. Look at this decline, and look, I talked about this a while ago, and I talked about this highlighted zone. We cleared it. Then I said to you that, look, I'm going to aim to the upside. I'm going to aim initially for something like 170 zone. And yes, perfect move here. Perfect test. This 170 zone. We did overshoot it by a little bit, but that's fine. Look, I think it's time, you know what to do? Remove all the drawings and start fresh. First of all, I'll bring, of course, back some of the lines here. Like, for example, this 1.6787, and this is the highest point of April. And you can see that we've dropped below it, and we're currently staying below it. I'll mark the recent high here, or I should say the current highest point of August, near the 1.7066. That's a good barrier for the upside, because right now, for me, the upside is kind of slightly off the table. Why? Because I'm kind of aiming for a larger correction here to the downside, because we have this upside line right now. Yes, in general, the trend is still to the upside, drawn because we have this trend line drawn from the low of the 15th of June. So in general, this move lower could still be classed as a temporary correction before another possible leg of buying. But again, I am from the short-term perspective, I am leaning towards this 50-day EMA initially, and then maybe this upside line. But I'm going to aim for that only as long as we stay below the 1.6787. In terms of the upside, or let's say right now the upside, let's say in case we don't go towards the 50-day EMA, well, in that case, I will maybe look at some higher levels if we do push back above this 1.6943-44 zone right here, marked by the inside swing low of the 18th of August. And finally, EURUSD, guys. So this one is beautiful because, look, I talked about this yesterday. I said to you that as long as we stay above the 200-day EMA, we might see a nice reversal here back to the upside here, a nice correction higher. Well, we did get a drop. We got a beautiful false breakout, and there we go. We stayed above this 200-day EMA and this 1.0834 level. So what's next? Well, maybe we could see another test of this area, but as long as it stays above it, I'm gonna lean towards a larger correction towards the downside here, to the upside, a larger correction to the upside towards this downside line drawn from the high of the 18th of July. If that line gets broken, then yes, great, I'll go further north, but I'll be very careful. If we do drop and stay below the 200-day EMA, below that 1.0834, to be honest, I'm going to be leaning towards the downside, towards my targets here, the 1.0779, 87 levels right here. And then we'll take it from there. So, guys, that's it. That's it for this session. Look, I hope you found it useful. That's first thing. I hope you found it, interesting. Thank you very much for killing around like 45 minutes of your time with me. So thank you very much. Thank you for that every morning. So I hope you, like I said, I hope you'll stay safe. Remember, there's not going to be a webinar tomorrow. I will resume on Monday. So have a beautiful trading day today. Stay safe. Have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose, and everything will be fine. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. Oh, and don't overtrade. Yep, don't overtrade. Bye-bye. Hey there, thank you very much for watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. So, like this video, we speculate your next mouse movement will be towards the subscribe button.